The giraffe stands as an impressive African mammal within the Giraffe genus. As the tallest terrestrial creature and the largest ruminant globally, this animal has long been recognized for its extraordinary traits. Initially thought to consist of one species, Giraffe camelopardalis, with 9 subspecies, recent research incorporating mitochondrial and nuclear DNA as well as morphological data has suggested the existence of up to 8 distinct living species. Additionally, the fossil record showcases 7 other giraffe species that are no longer extant. Its defining features, such as the remarkably elongated neck and legs, horn-like ossicones, and distinctive spotted coat, set the giraffe apart. Categorized within the Giraffidae family, its closest living relative is the okapi. With a habitat range stretching from Chad to South Africa and Niger to Somalia, giraffes predominantly dwell in savannas and woodlands, feeding on leaves, fruits, and flowers from trees like acacia species, often reaching heights beyond the reach of other herbivores. Despite its impressive stature, the giraffe faces threats from predators including lions, leopards, spotted hyenas, and African wild dogs. These creatures exhibit social behaviors, forming herds of related females and their offspring, as well as bachelor groups of adult males. Male dominance is established through necking, combat involving the use of their necks as weapons. Females bear the sole responsibility for nurturing the young, while dominant males gain mating rights. The peculiar appearance of giraffes has captivated ancient and modern societies, often depicted in various art forms and cultural representations. However, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, classifies giraffes as vulnerable to extinction due to habitat loss and human impact. Despite their presence in national parks and reserves, estimates as of 2016 suggest approximately 97,500 wild giraffe members, with over 1,600 in captivity. The etymology of the term giraffe traces back to its origins in Arabic and Persian. Similarly, the archaic English name camelopard reflects its resemblance to a blend of a camel and a leopard. Regarding taxonomy and evolution, giraffes belong to the Giraffidae family, sharing this lineage with the okapi. The fossil record indicates a diverse array of ancient giraffids, showcasing the gradual evolution of their distinctive features over millions of years. The evolution of the giraffe's elongated neck began in its ancestral lineage, with various species exhibiting transitional traits leading to the modern giraffe. Climate changes and habitat shifts played significant roles in the emergence and diversification of giraffes, with African giraffes surviving and evolving into distinct species. These shifts in habitat, diet, and environmental pressures likely influenced the genetic and physical adaptations observed in modern giraffes. The giraffe's genome, significantly larger than that of the okapi, contributes to its unique traits. Key regulatory genes are believed to be responsible for the animal's exceptional height and the associated circulatory adaptations. Overall, the giraffe stands as a remarkable symbol of nature's evolutionary processes, captivating human imagination through its unique appearance and evolutionary journey. 1. Linnaean classification and taxonomic evolution. Initially, Carl Linnaeus categorized giraffes as one species, Cervus camelopardalis, in 1758. The genus name Giraffa was introduced by Mathurin Jacques Brisson in 1762. Over time, there have been variations in taxonomies. In the 1900s, there were suggestions of 2 or 3 giraffe species. Genetic studies from 2007 onwards using mitochondrial DNA hinted at the possibility of recognizing 6 lineages as species. Further research in 2011 utilizing detailed morphology analysis and applying the phylogenetic species concept described 8 giraffe species. A 2016 study proposed the existence of 4 distinct species that hadn't interbred for 1 to 2 million years. A 2020 study highlighted varying taxonomic hypotheses, suggesting from 2 to 6 species for Giraffa, showing that different methods could lead to different conclusions. 2. Recent studies and genetic analysis. In 2021, a whole genome sequencing study suggested 4 distinct species and 7 subspecies. Based on genome analysis, the proposed species and their respective subspecies include Giraffe camelopardalis, with subspecies Antiquorum, camelopardalis, and Peralta, Giraffe reticulata, Giraffe tippleskirchi, with subspecies Tippleskirchi and Thornycrofti, and Giraffe, with subspecies Angolensis and Giraffe. 3. Phylogenetic relationships. Genetic analyses and phylogenetic trees have supported the existence of these proposed species and subspecies, depicting their evolutionary relationships and geographic distributions. The traditional 9 subspecies in the one species hypothesis have been reinterpreted into these proposed distinct species and subspecies. 4. Contemporary taxonomic viewpoints. Taxonomic views on giraffe species have evolved significantly, with varied studies proposing different numbers of species and subspecies. The cladogram showcases the relationships between these proposed giraffe species and subspecies, highlighting the genetic distinctions and evolutionary connections among them. The Kordofan giraffe, designated as GC Antiquorum, occupies regions in southern Chad, the Central African Republic, northern Cameroon, and the northeastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Initially, the Cameroonian population was mistakenly categorized under GC Peralta, an error later rectified. Vis-a-vis the Nubian giraffe, this subspecies showcases smaller and more irregular spot patterns, often observed below the hocks and inside the legs. Male Kordofan giraffes feature a distinct median lump, with an estimated count of around 2,000 in the wild. There has been historical confusion concerning its distinction from GC Peralta in zoo settings. In 2007, it was confirmed that purported GC Peralta in European zoos were indeed GC Antiquorum, reducing the zoo population to approximately 65 individuals. The Nubian giraffe, also known as GC camelopardalis, inhabits areas in eastern South Sudan, southwestern Ethiopia, Kenya, and Uganda, distinguished by sharp chestnut-colored spots bordered by white lines and lacking spots underneath. This subspecies has a male median lump. Approximately 2,150 Nubian giraffes survive in the wild, with an additional 1,500 Rothschild's ecotype individuals. While common in captivity, the original phenotype remains rare, with a small group preserved at Al Ain Zoo in the United Arab Emirates, initially consisting of 14 individuals in 2003. Rothschild's giraffe, identified as G. circa rothschildi, potentially an ecotype of G. camelopardalis, resides in parts of Uganda and Kenya. The giraffe displays prominent dark patches, often with well-defined margins or sharp edges, sometimes accompanied by lighter lines or streaks within these spots. Spots rarely extend below the hocks and almost never reach the hooves. This ecotype might also develop 5 horns. It is estimated that about 1,500 Rothschild's giraffes exist in the wild, with over 450 residing in zoos. Genetic analysis from approximately September 2016 indicates its conspecific status with the Nubian giraffe. The West African giraffe, G. circa peralta, is indigenous to southwestern Niger. It exhibits a lighter fur than other subspecies, with red blotches extending below the hocks. Males possess well-formed median lumps, distinguishing them further. This subspecies faces critical endangerment, with only 400 individuals surviving in their natural habitat. Previously, Cameroon giraffes were thought to belong to this species, but subsequent studies revealed them as G. circa antiquorum. This misclassification led to confusion regarding its status in zoos, eventually clarified in 2007. It was discovered that all G.C. Peralta in European zoos were, in fact, G. circa antiquorum. Research suggests the West African giraffe has a closer relationship with Rothschild's giraffe than the Kordofan giraffe, possibly migrating from eastern to northern Africa and later westward during the spread of the Sahara Desert. The historical Lake Chad potentially acted as a boundary between West African and Kordofan giraffes before 5000 BC. The reticulated giraffe, G. circa reticulata, thrives in northeastern Kenya, southern Ethiopia, and Somalia, identified by its distinct coat pattern consisting of sharp-edged, reddish-brown polygonal patches interconnected by fine white lines. This subspecies may or may not have spots below the hocks, with males featuring a median lump. An estimated 8,660 individuals exist in the wild, accompanied by over 450 individuals recorded in zoo records. The Angolan giraffe, referred to as GC angolensis, is found in various regions including northern Namibia, southwestern Zambia, central Botswana, western and southern Zimbabwe, and Angola since mid-2023. A genetic study in 2009 suggested separate subspecies within the northern Namib Desert and Etosha National Park populations, identified by large brown blotches with notched edges or angular extensions. This subspecies features a spotting pattern across the legs but not on the upper face. Roughly 13,000 Angolan giraffes remain in the wild, with only about 20 recorded in zoos. The South African giraffe, GC giraffa, inhabits northern South Africa, southern Botswana, and southwestern Mozambique. Recognizable by dark, somewhat rounded patches with fine projections against a tawny background, these spots extend down the legs, diminishing in size. Males possess less pronounced median lumps. An estimated maximum of 31,500 individuals exist in their natural habitat, with around 45 individuals in zoos. The Maasai giraffe, termed G. circa tipalskirchi, is prevalent in central and southern Kenya and Tanzania, exhibiting diverse coat patterns. Their spots range from rounded and smooth-edged to oval-shaped with incised or looped edges. Males usually feature a median lump. Approximately 32,550 Maasai giraffes thrive in the wild, with about 100 housed in zoos. Thornycroft's giraffe, recognized as GC thornycrofti, is limited to the Luangwa Valley in eastern Zambia. The patches on this subspecies are notched and somewhat star-shaped, extending or not across the legs. Male median lumps are less developed. A dwindling population of fewer than 550 exists in their natural habitat, with none found in zoos. It was named after Harry Scott Thornycroft. These subspecies exhibit various characteristics. Fully grown giraffes measure 4.3 to 5.7 meters in height, with males taller than females. Adult male giraffes typically weigh around 1,192 kilograms, while females weigh approximately 828 kg. Despite their long necks and legs, their bodies are relatively short. The skin varies in color from gray to tan, with a thickness of up to 20 millimeters. The tail, measuring 80 to 100 centimeters in length, terminates in a dark tuft used for defense against insects. The coat features dark patches or blotches of orange, chestnut, brown, or nearly black, encircled by light-colored hair, predominantly white or cream. Male giraffes darken as they age, and each giraffe has a unique coat pattern. The skin under these patches may help regulate body temperature, housing intricate blood vessel systems and large sweat glands. Giraffes possess prominent horn-like structures called ossicones, with males displaying more developed ones. These ossicones are used in combat between males and possibly have a role in thermoregulation. Giraffes have a broad visual field due to their elevated height, with eyes positioned on the sides of their heads. They may see in color, while their sense of hearing and smell is acute. Both sexes possess a flexible, hairy upper lip for protection against sharp prickles, and the upper jaw lacks front teeth. The tongue, about 45 centimeters long and black in color, adeptly grasps foliage and delicately plucks leaves. The giraffe's distinctive elongated neck, up to 2.4 meters in length, is supported by large muscles and a nuchal ligament, giving rise to a hump at the base. The long neck is primarily a result of the lengthening of cervical vertebrae, accounting for 52 to 54% of the giraffe's vertebral column. The giraffe's front and back legs are approximately the same length, with large hooves and low fetlocks aiding in weight support. Their gaits include walking and galloping, with galloping reaching speeds of up to 60 km per hour. Giraffes rest by lying down, using their front knees to support their body and swinging their head for balance. They can also sleep standing up, typically resting around 4.6 hours per day. These distinctive characteristics and behaviors highlight the unique and intriguing features of giraffes, an iconic species of the animal kingdom. The internal mechanisms of a giraffe, particularly the pathway of the recurrent laryngeal nerve, illustrate intriguing adaptations unique to this species. Among mammals, the giraffe possesses an exceptionally longer left recurrent laryngeal nerve, extending over 30 centimeters, 12 in, more than its right counterpart. Remarkably, in giraffes, these nerves surpass the length found in any other living creature, with the left nerve measuring over 2 meters, 6 feet 7 in, long. Originating from the brainstem, these nerve cells travel down the neck via the vagus nerve, branching into the recurrent laryngeal nerve, which then ascends back up the neck to reach the larynx. This nerve pathway spans almost 5 meters, 16 feet, in the largest giraffes. Despite its elongated neck and sizable skull, the giraffe's brain structure aligns with that of ungulates, and its brain remains cool through evaporative heat loss in the nasal passages. The anatomical design, including the shape of its skeleton, results in a relatively small lung volume compared to its mass. The extended neck creates a substantial amount of dead space despite a narrow windpipe. Nonetheless, the giraffe maintains a balance between dead space and tidal volume akin to other mammals, ensuring sufficient oxygen supply to its tissues. Moreover, during activities like running, the giraffe can augment its respiratory rate and oxygen diffusion to meet increased demands. Regarding its circulatory system, the giraffe displays numerous adaptations to accommodate its towering stature. With a heart weighing approximately 11 kilograms, 25 lb, and measuring about 60 centimeters, 2 feet, in length, the giraffe requires nearly double the blood pressure of a human to adequately circulate blood to its brain. This results in a thickened heart wall, sometimes reaching up to 7.5 centimeters, 3.0 in thickness. When the giraffe lowers its head, blood flows down its neck unimpeded, regulated by a rete mirabile, a structure in the upper neck with a large cross-sectional area that prevents excessive blood flow to the brain. Conversely, upon raising its head, blood vessels constrict, ensuring a sufficient blood supply to the brain and preventing the animal from fainting. The jugular veins feature multiple valves, typically 7, that hinder blood backflow from the inferior vena cava and right atrium while the giraffe's head is lowered. Moreover, due to the gravitational pressure from the weight of fluid, the blood vessels in the lower legs are under significant stress. The giraffe's skin in these areas is notably thick and taut, preventing excessive blood pooling. Giraffes boast robust esophageal muscles, enabling the regurgitation of food from the stomach up the neck for rumination. Their specialized diet is complemented by a 4-chambered stomach and intestines exceeding 70 m, 230 feet, in length, featuring a relatively small ratio of small to large intestine. Additionally, adult giraffes possess a small, compact liver, and while fetuses might develop a small gallbladder, it typically disappears before birth. Moving to their behavior and ecological habits, giraffes primarily inhabit savannas and open woodlands, showing a preference for areas dominated by specific tree species. Acaciae, Commiphora, Combretum, and Terminalia trees are preferred over more densely spaced Brachystegia, while their diet comprises tree twigs, shrubs, grass, and fruit. Giraffes consume approximately 34 kilograms, 75 pounds, of plant matter daily. During the wet season, they disperse widely to feed, while in the dry season, they gather around the remaining evergreen trees and bushes. To ensure vigilance against predators, mothers tend to feed in open areas despite potential reductions in feeding efficiency. As ruminants, giraffes exhibit a digestive process involving chewing, swallowing, and re-chewing half-digested cud, ensuring nutrient-rich consumption and resulting in pellet-shaped feces. When water is accessible, giraffes drink at intervals no longer than 3 days. Feeding habits significantly impact the surrounding trees, delaying the growth of young trees for years and causing alterations in the shapes of taller trees. Their feeding activity peaks during the first and last hours of the daytime, while rumination dominates their nighttime routine, often performed while lying down. Giraffes exhibit social behaviors that lead to varying group compositions influenced by ecological, temporal, and social factors. Recent studies have revealed longer-lasting social groups or cliques based on kinship, sex, or other factors. These groups regularly interact with other communities or subcommunities within a dynamic social structure. Notably, the presence of humans can disrupt these social arrangements. Male-biased dispersal occurs, connecting adult female subpopulations into supercommunities of around 300 animals. Interestingly, giraffes communicate through various vocalizations and body language. Contrary to early beliefs, giraffes are not mute and employ sounds like snorts, sneezes, coughs, snores, grunts, and bursts for communication. Courtship behaviors involve males emitting loud coughs and females bellowing to call their young. Additionally, giraffes use body language, such as displaying dominance through posture and movements. Reproduction in giraffes is polygamous, where older males mate with fertile females dispersed over space and time. Male giraffes assess female fertility through the Fleeman response, tasting a female's urine to detect estrus. Gestation lasts approximately 400 to 460 days, yielding a single calf, although twins are rare. The birthing process occurs with the mother standing, and the newborn calf, approximately 1.7 to 2 meters, 5 feet 7 and 6 feet 7 in tall, emerges head and front legs first, severing the umbilical cord. Calves can stand and move within hours of birth, camouflaged by their coat pattern. Nursery herds, composed of mothers and calves, gather for mutual protection, and calves suckle from females other than their mothers in a behavior known as allosucking. Male giraffes engage in necking behaviors, utilizing their necks as weapons to establish dominance. Necking involves both low and high-intensity bouts, where combatants attempt to assert superiority. Although these interactions seldom result in serious injury, they are crucial in determining reproductive success. Following a necking duel, male giraffes may exhibit affiliative behaviors towards each other. The species exhibits a relatively high adult survival rate, though calves are more vulnerable to predation. Parasites, including ticks, affect giraffes, with oxpeckers aiding in grooming and alerting them to potential dangers. Giraffes host various internal parasites and are susceptible to several diseases, including rinderpest and skin disorders, although these ailments may have varying prevalence depending on the region and environmental factors. The giraffe, with its distinctive physique and spotted coat, holds significant cultural significance across human history and various cultures. It has been an emblem of diverse qualities including flexibility, far-sightedness, femininity, fragility, passivity, grace, beauty, and symbolizes the continent of Africa itself. Throughout the African continent, the depiction of giraffes in art has been prevalent among civilizations like the Kiphians, Egyptians, and Kushites. The Kiphians, in particular, etched a life-sized rock engraving portraying 2 giraffes, dated back 8,000 years, hailed as the world's largest rock art petroglyph. African folklore narrates intriguing stories about the giraffe's towering height. Among the Tugen people in modern Kenya, the giraffe was utilized to represent their deity Mda, showcasing its revered status in local mythology. In ancient Egypt, the giraffe was attributed its own hieroglyph, denoted as Sr in Old Egyptian and Mmy in later periods. Moreover, giraffes have permeated modern Western culture through various mediums. Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter, depicted giraffes with blazing manes in his artworks, considering them as masculine symbols, even portraying a flaming giraffe as a masculine cosmic apocalyptic monster. The giraffe features prominently in children's literature, including stories like David A. Euphor's The Giraffe Who Was Afraid of Heights, Gilles Andreas' Giraffes Can't Dance, and Roald Dahl's The Giraffe and the Pelly and Me. In the realm of animation, giraffes appear as minor characters in Disney's The Lion King and Dumbo, while holding more prominent roles in movies like The Wild and the Madagascar series. Additionally, the toy, Sophie the Giraffe, has been a popular teether since 1961, and the Toys R Us mascot, Geoffrey the Giraffe, gained widespread recognition. Beyond cultural significance, the giraffe's unique properties have been harnessed for scientific experimentation and discoveries. Scientists have studied giraffe skin properties as models for astronaut and fighter pilot suits, considering the risk of blood rush to the legs in these professions. Furthermore, computer scientists have utilized reaction diffusion mechanisms to simulate coat patterns of various giraffe subspecies. The celestial world also acknowledges the giraffe, as seen in the constellation Camelopardalis, which was introduced in the 17th century and depicts a giraffe. In the traditions of the Sawana people of Botswana, the Crux constellation symbolizes two giraffes. Throughout history, giraffes have been kept in captivity, starting with the ancient Egyptians, who transported them across the Mediterranean. The Romans and other European civilizations continued this trend of displaying giraffes, with Julius Caesar bringing the first giraffe to Rome in 46 BC. However, during the Middle Ages, contact with Arabs diminished European exposure to giraffes, who held the animal in high regard for its peculiar appearance. Individual captive giraffes, such as the Medici giraffe in Florence and Zarafa in France during the 19th century, attained celebrity status and became subjects of fascination, leading to numerous souvenirs or giraffenalia. In modern times, giraffes remain popular attractions in zoos, although maintaining their health in captivity poses challenges due to their need for expansive areas and substantial browse intake. Giraffes in captivity display stereotypical behaviors such as licking inanimate objects and pacing, prompting efforts by zookeepers to engage them in various stimulating activities. Zoo structures for giraffes are constructed exceptionally high to accommodate their towering stature. Unfortunately, giraffes have been targeted by hunters across Africa, leading to their use for various purposes. Different parts of the giraffe's body were utilized for meat, tail hairs for practical objects like fly swatters and threads, and skin for shields, sandals, and musical instrument strings. Certain traditions, like the use of smoke from burning giraffe skin to treat nosebleeds in Baganda, underscored their cultural importance. In terms of conservation, giraffe populations face multiple threats, primarily habitat loss and direct killing for bush meat markets. Their historical range has shrunk considerably, with populations declining in regions like Eritrea, Guinea, Mauritania, and Senegal. Efforts within protected areas such as national parks and community-based conservation initiatives play a vital role in safeguarding giraffe habitats and populations. Private game reserves have also contributed significantly to preserving giraffes in certain regions. The giraffe, protected in most of its range, holds symbolic significance as the national animal of Tanzania, protected by law with unauthorized killing leading to legal consequences. Despite conservation efforts, giraffes were classified as vulnerable by the IUCN in 2016. Various subspecies face endangerment, with some classified as endangered or critically endangered. Causes for their declining populations include habitat destruction, deforestation, and severe droughts in certain regions, leading to increased tensions over land use and wildlife killing. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, has listed giraffes under Appendix 2, regulating international trade involving their parts or derivatives. Monitoring giraffe populations remains challenging due to the vast and roadless landscapes in which they reside. While aerial surveys are common, they might undercount giraffes, making ground-based survey methods more accurate in estimating population sizes and trends. Efforts to translocate giraffes to restore diminished populations are complex and involve extensive pre- and post-translocation studies to ensure their viability.